Welcome to another episode of Looking at the Markets with me, David Modell. And today I've got some news for you. You might not want to hear it, but you're probably trading for the wrong reasons. And you might not even know it. So, what are these reasons that many people trade for and they're not good reasons? So, one of the more popular reasons that people trade is boredom. Especially if you've been trading during a boring market. Maybe there's very little volatility in the markets. Maybe there's not much going on. Perhaps the markets are trading in a tight range. And as human beings, if we have nothing to do, sometimes we seek out something to do. But that's not a good reason to trade. In fact, that could lead to financial disaster. All right. There's an old saying that you've got to let the trade come to you. Okay. You're not seeking out trades. If you don't, you've got to have price targets in mind before you make a trade. Okay. So if you're going long, you want to know what a good price is. And then you wait for the stock or ETF or currency or commodity or whatever. You wait until it reaches the price that you want to buy it at, okay? Or if you want to go short, you wait until it goes too high. And again, you should have a price in mind before you go long or short. You're not just going to trade because you haven't had a trade in a few days or a few weeks. Personally, I don't mind waiting weeks or even a couple of months before I make a trade. Okay. I've got the price in mind and I'm going to wait for it to get there. It can either go too low or too high, but I'm not going to trade just because, I'm sitting around waiting for a trade. Okay. Let the price come to you. Revenge. That's kind of a funny picture there. Yeah. This is so common. People make a trade because they lost money in the market. And now they feel like they've got to make that money back and they've got to make it back right now. And so they're looking for a trade, something, anything. Well, again, I hate to sound like a broken record, but you want to have, prices in mind that you're willing to buy a stock or whatever at and let the trade come to you. Wait till the price reaches your price target before your buy target or shorting target, whatever it is, before you make a trade. You're not just going to make a trade, or you shouldn't make a trade because you just lost money on a trade and now you want to make it back. Or you think that you lost money because the market was unreasonable or because you think it's manipulation and now you're mad at the market. Okay, don't get mad at the market. If you just lost money, it's hard to do, I know, but you've got to be patient and you've got to wait for a good trade setup before you get back in there. It's even okay if you just lost some money to walk away from the markets for a while. Walk away from your screen. There's nothing wrong with that. Because if you're feeling emotional, you might want to walk away because then you're vulnerable to making, uh, irrational decisions. And that's not the way to go. Let's talk about fear. A lot of trades that we make are out of fear. If you bought at a high price and then the price went down sharply and you sold out of fear, well, look, we should all have some healthy fear. Okay. We should all want to protect our capital. We want to protect our money when trades go against us. But let me ask you this. Did you have a stop loss order in place before you made the trade, or at the same time as you made the trade? You should also have a stop loss order, or at least a mental stop loss, a price where you're going to sell. Okay, you establish that when you make the trade or even before you make the trade. Okay, or if you're not using stop loss orders, then you have to be ready to lose your entire investment. And that's okay if you're investing a very small amount. I always talk about using small position sizes. These are tactics you can use to eliminate fear from your trading. Because if fear is part of your trading strategy, or if you have no trading strategy and you're just using fear as your guide to help you preserve capital, then what's going to end up happening is you're going to buy high and you're going to sell at a lower price than you bought, and you're going to sell for the wrong reasons, and you're going to lose money. And that's not a strategy. That's just that's a recipe for disaster. And along with fear goes greed. And here's a quote from Walter Schloss, and this is a great quote. Fear and greed are probably the worst emotions to have in connection with the purchase and sale of stocks. All right, so we already talked about fear. Greed, yeah, okay. Just like you should have a price where you know you're going to sell if a trade goes against you, you should have a price where you're going to sell if the trade goes in the direction you want it to go. All right, what's your price target? This is something you should have before or at the point of purchase, okay? Or if you're shorting, also you should have a price below where you shorted where you're willing to take profits. If you don't have that, then you're just kind of going on emotions. You're going on greed. How greedy are you? And if you're not willing to take a reasonable profit, then you know what happens. The trade turns around on you, and now you lost your profits, or worse yet, you turned a profit into a loss unnecessarily. And greed will do that to you. Okay. Greed will also cause you to buy when prices are high. You see the market, or you see a stock or whatever going up, up, up. You've got fear of missing out. That's FOMO, F-O-M-O, fear of missing out. And you're buying at the top. And we all know what happens when you buy at a really high price. Sure, it might go a little bit higher, but the market tends to go down sharply. It goes down faster usually than it goes up. And that's not a position you want to be in if you buy at a high price. So greed is not a good emotion when making a trade, just like fear is not a good emotion when making a trade. And finally, and this might actually be the worst one of all, you like to gamble. Is that you? Be honest with yourself. Maybe you got into the markets, or you got into trading or investing because you like risk. Well, the markets are going to have risk, and you're going to have to accept a certain amount of risk. But I hope you're also hedging. With every trade, I hope you know your maximum loss on any trade. Okay, I hope that you're hedging in some way, meaning that you're establishing the max loss, the most you can possibly lose on any trade. Otherwise, you are gambling. And if you're getting into a trade that is very risky, the rewards might be greater, but if the risk is greater, then, again, that's a recipe for losing a lot of money. And that's personally not the way that I like to go. I'd rather take on a little bit less potential reward and also hedge my bets so that I have a smaller maximum loss. All right. That way I can sleep at night knowing that I can only lose so much money on any trade or investment. And, if you just keep on gambling, um, it's over the long term, you're not likely to do too well. Because just like with a casino, where the house always has the advantage, when you do a lot of gambling in the markets or the broker always has the advantage. Okay. So, gambling is, while risk is part of trading and investing, gambling doesn't have to be. So the only good reason to trade or invest, really, is because you have a plan, a knowledge of the markets, and a desire to earn steady, realistic income with a consistent strategy. And if you'd like some help putting together a plan, a strategy, something realistic, something attainable that doesn't involve all those wrong reasons that we discussed today, all the wrong reasons to trade. You want to have the right reasons to trade. And I can help you with that. So feel free to email me at davidmodell@gmail.com. Also, feel free to, if you like the video, or if you like any of my videos, check them all out. Give them a thumbs up or a like. leave a comment. I really like hearing the comments because that gives me the feedback so I can make every video better than the last one, because I enjoy providing content for you. So I hope to hear from you soon. Thanks a lot.